All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mouth of the Mark. We are reviewing Monday Night Raw on the Go Home edition before Elimination Chamber. And I'm going to do something different this time because usually I run the show and Daniel just kind of blah because Daniel just loves to ramble. But what we're going to do this time is lazy piece of shit, and I didn't take any notes for this. So we're going to let Daniel run the show this time. So, Daniel, the floor is yours, good sir.
Thanks. I'll do what I can. I'll do my best to not like bunny trail on this entire show. But okay, first of all, the overall vibe started off really cool with it being Memorial Day. The whole like Reagan and the superstars like bit, it was really good. Like I'm not like an overly patriotic Southerner, like super freedom. Like I mean, I love my country. I hate the people that run it, but at the same time, like it was a really cool spot. Like that Reagan speech was a good speech. I thought it was really well done. And then the first segment of the night was pretty much Rollins opening and just pretty much a promo on Ambrose to further their gimmick. And then they started with pretty much which was what the theme of the night was, which was Dean Ambrose has to sign his contract by the end of Raw, or else he loses his title match at Elimination Chamber. So Rollins cuts a good promo out, and it wasn't too bad. Did you get a chance to catch that opening promo?
Yeah. I caught everything. I just was a shitty mark and didn't take any notes to prepare for our weekly podcast. So,
Okay. Yeah. Well, in the beginning, it was like, all right, so they had the opening segment, and then the promo was good. And I thought, like, once they said, okay, well, Ambrose has to sign his contract by the end of Raw, I figured they're going to, like, make him pull double duty and, like, put him out there a lot and, like, really play up the fact that Ambrose is super over in the Long Island area of New York. You know what I mean? So, I, I mean, I felt after that promo that we were going to have a pretty decent Raw. And then the first match of the night, after they had, Reigns come out there and Ambrose and all that shit happen and they all got involved, we had Kane and Rollins versus Reigns and Ambrose. It was pretty much a basic tag match. The flying knee spot that Rollins has been doing, the camera guy, I think they probably had talked about this and rehearsed it or whatever, or at least like talked to the camera guy about where he needs to be, because that was the best that flying knee spot has looked, and it was all because of the camera angle. So I gave that match a C overall just because it felt like a basic tag match. But both parties ended up looking strong. But I did really hate that, again, Dean Ambrose pins Rollins clean. And Rollins, as a world heavyweight champion, still does not have one clean win, even on a Raw or a pay-per-view or anything. And that's not okay to me.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I really thought that Ambrose was going to go over on Kane, because you had to put the baby faces over. It was your typical tag team match. Heels work over the faces. Faces get the comeback. They're the comeback kids, and then they go home. Like that's cool. But I just putting Ambrose over Rollins now kind of makes it obvious with the WWE formula. Rollins is going to retain an Elimination Chamber. Like I would have almost rathered Rollins Ambrose, because then even the marks who like know the formula are just like, well, okay, maybe Ambrose is going to really pull this out, because the formula. Whoever is looking strong at the go home, 9 times out of 10 they fail at the pay-per-view. I mean, that's kind of the typical formula unless they try to throw a swerve. But it's just they're doing it. I guess they're trying to keep it where Rollins is only the Weasel champion.
Yeah.
I just wish they wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wish they. I really wish.
And I agree with you too. I agree with your point, especially about that finish. But I think that the tonight creative was god awful. I mean, it was a bullshit show, man. Like, I mean, it was really bad, and most of it was creative. Like they could have even had a distraction and a Weasel finish, because you had Ambrose win the last match that they had. Yeah. You should have had Rollins go over and get the 1, 2, 3 at this on this match for sure. I think
they could have done. They could have done the package of doom.
And then it all comes full circle at the end of the show. But again, we'll get to that. So after that, what was your grade for that first match, though?
It was about a C, man. I mean, it's your typical, like we talked about. It's the typical tag formula.
Yeah.
We both think the wrong guy went over going into this pay-per-view. Now that's not to take away anything of Ambrose, because I'm more over on Ambrose than you are, because you're actually not that high on Ambrose, or at least you weren't before we started doing this. But I just, to make it more, I think that that Ambrose should have taken the pin, or even Rollins pinning Reigns. Could have done the Schoolboy of Doom. Like they could have just done the roll up kid thing.
Right.
Like it like whatever. It doesn't matter, off of a Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury distraction.
Yeah.
Like that would have been perfectly fine. And
Exactly.
normally I hate indecisive finishes, Lee.
I 100% agree with you on that one for sure. I 100% agree with you on that spot of the match. But we did learn. We talked about it, and I think that I know we had gone back and forth, but okay. So we now know that Chamber is officially just a network exclusive. It's not actually available on pay-per-view. It's only available on the network.
It is not. The only way to get it in the United States is on the WWE network. So I was wrong there. A Mark who can admit he's wrong is a stronger Mark for it.
That's true. That is true. But I do believe that is it Money in the Bank that's coming up next, and another 2 weeks after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I do believe that that's a national pay-per-view as well.
Well, that's a normal pay-per-view. This is just kind of an extra gimme, which we'll talk about that after. But let's keep going with Raw.
I think that they're going to keep doing this, man. I think that we're going to start having 2-week specials, and every other one is going to be a pay-per-view. And I think that they're going to bring back old ones. I think they're going to start bringing back like Judgment Days and No Way Outs and like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like. I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's get into that after, because I have a lot to say on that. Because
all right. We'll get to that after we finish with Raw. But then we had the little angle that kind of tied into the whole contract thing, where the cameraman gets popped by Ambrose. I didn't mind that little bit of business. It made sense to me. I could totally feel it being like a Stone Cold moment where he accidentally does it. Like. Is pissed about it. He doesn't actually say he's sorry or actually ask for help, but you can see that he's like, concerned about the camera guy. They played that well. I thought that part was good. And then the Owens package, the video package they had was awesome. Now they're saying champion versus champion at Elimination Chamber. So I don't know if that means both titles are on the line or if no titles are on the line, because it makes no sense to have a champion versus champion match and then it'd be a U.S. title match. So now I think they're just advertising it champion versus champion, and there's going to be some kind of weird DQ or some kind of weird finish. It's not going to be a title match at all. That's what I think.
I'm the same way. I think going to be an exhibition where there's no title on the line, and I'm standing by now, especially now that we know that it is only on the network. Samoa Joe will be at Elimination Chamber and will cost Owens the match. You can put that on pen and paper.
Okay. I don't think it's going to be Samoa Joe yet. I don't think they're going to pop that cherry yet. Not on the main roster. I don't think they're going to do it yet.
I wouldn't think it now that I've given it if it was network and pay-per-view, but now that it's just network, only your network people are going to see it. So it's in the same vibe as NXT. That's just me. I think Joe's going to, it's what I want. I guess I should say that. That's what I want. If Owens is going to lose, I want it to further an angle on NXT, and I want it to be Joe.
I agree. I agree with that. And then so after that little package, it was the Rusev Truth match. Okay, now this is part of my spiel for the night too. Okay, I understand that you want to make Rusev look like this domestic violence promoting like bad guy. I get that. I understand that because that's a hot button issue. I understand that. But why does he all of a sudden become just Bulgarian again and lose the Russian thing? Would it not make so much more sense to have Lana renounce Russia on fucking Memorial Day and go over super huge and even blow that up even bigger? Why would you just switch his colors and go back to the Bulgarian brute thing only? And then you have him mention Mother Russia when he's like, when they're doing this whole big long segment, long promo that they had. And to me, it feels like this whole Ziggler-Rusev thing should be a match of its own. Like, it's almost muddies and devalues the other guys in the IC title thing. You know what I mean? Even Barrett, who was coming off with a lot of steam, I feel like has lost a lot of momentum just because of the TV time now that Ziggler and Rusev are getting. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I mean, I felt like the whole thing was an F too because you squash a contender that's in the pay-per-view. So that whole match was an F. The segment wasn't bad, but it was poorly written. Like maybe I'm just and maybe I'm being overjudgmental. Like they got their point across. I just could see like blatantly wide open in my mind where they should have gone with this. It was like a no-brainer to do this. Like have Lana renounce Russia. You know what I'm saying? Why would you just because Bulgaria is clearly a much lesser known country than Russia, and it's not a part of Russia as a lot of dumb idiots think it is. It's a completely separate country, so it doesn't make any sense for all of this is like mind-blowingly frustrating to me. The way they book this is like so terrible because it does nothing but I mean you've knocked four pegs off of Rusev already. Like just by doing this, just by making it so much longer, you know what I mean, than it had to be. Like,
yep.
I don't know. What
the biggest thing for me, the match? I mean, I hated it. I hated it because if you're gonna put him against, and I'm gonna say Jobber, but if you're gonna put him against an enhancement guy, why are you making the number 6 guy in the Elimination Chamber that enhancement guy? It's a conspiracy. You know, I mean, I didn't like it at all. It was a poor decision, especially with the like next to 0 time that was given. Rusev had a really bad sell, and usually he's not too bad, but when Truth did that rebound, he did like that super like I don't know the name of it, but it's that super spinny thing that he does. It's like an elbow that he throws.
Oh, like
but
a chop
he did that
thing?
cyclone thing.
That
Like that running. I don't know. It's like he runs, he rebounds, he jumps, and like he spins like a 900, like in the air, and his opponent takes a back bump off of it. Rusev like started going down before R-Truth was in the air. Like it was an obvious botch.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. He's been doing that since TNA actually.
Yeah, he's been doing that move forever, but Rusev sold it like he was so early. Like that was the most noticeable thing. That's why I gave it an F. Forget the fact about how short it was and who the opponent was, but it was clunky work. It wasn't the clunkiest work of the night, which we will get to, and I will have a lot to say on that.
Oh yeah.
But you know, just the segment was too long. Match aside, the segment was too long to get across what was getting. I think they did good on teasing the reunion and then Rusev becoming the total asshole at the end. Like that's good, but when you, and I know I'm going to get some total heat for being a white male talking about this, but when you go out there and you make a point about women and their proper place, and I put that in quotes, when you go out there and you talk about that, you're not with heat. You're going to get buried with heat. Like that is the absolute wrong tree to bark up with this. I agree. It's Memorial Day. Lana should have just like renounced everything Russian. Like she could have been like freaking, you know, Zeb Coulter could have been right. Her name could be Natalia or like something like stupid. And like, she's like a Russian imposter. Like she worked for the CIA. So anything would have been better than what they did tonight. Guaranteed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, that's it.
I agree.
F all around.
Poor creative, dude.
But that's all night. That was the constant of the whole night. Just
yeah, and I mean,
creative.
now, okay. The thing to me about all that is like, I understand that you're trying to get him as much heat as you can because you want to keep him as like your second heel under Seth Rollins. I mean, he's that big of the heel. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, a lot of people think it's Sheamus right now, but I honestly think it's Rusev. And I get it, but it's almost like you're almost, especially because of how much like that domestic violence thing has been in the spotlight in all of sports lately in general. it's almost like a Katie Vick level storyline with the way you're treating this. You know what I mean? Like
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
not
It's
okay to
bad.
talk about women like that on TV anymore. Like, and it should have never been in the first place, you know. But either way, it's like you can't do that. Like, even if you're trying to get heat, like, I mean, honestly, at one point I was really scared that he was gonna like grab her by the back of the hair or something. You know what I mean? And I was
Me
like,
too.
dude,
Me too.
like I was like,
I
man,
was
please don't do that. Like, that's gonna be bad. Like, I don't want to see this on like Fox News or something. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, that chick on CNN would just have a field
right.
day if
And
he did that.
what's weird is, dude, 5 years ago, the same angle could have happened 5 years ago, and it would have been a lot more acceptable. That's sad, but it's true. You know what I mean? And like, it just shows me that the guys that are writing this show don't really understand that if they walk the line, and they're probably going to get away with it at this show. But it was touchy, man. It was touchy. And I mean, I'm sure there's a counter argument that said, well, they walked the line and they didn't quite cross it. And that's kind of attitude error. They did that too. And it was actually really good, smart, creative, you know, like, and to those guys, I say, you're an idiot. Like, you're wrong.
It's a
Like,
different era. It's completely different now. Like, what different story. Plain and simple, they went the wrong way with this. Man.
agreed.
Like
Agreed.
they went the way wrong way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I think with the
moving on.
Lana Ziggler thing, I texted this to you earlier, but I put this in my notes, man. I think that, like, all right, so if you didn't notice, like, there's this whole big thing. Ziggler didn't really have a promo tonight. So what he gets to do is, after Lana, like, lays down the law, you know, and she, like, is walking away, you hear Ziggler's music hit, and he comes out, gets a huge pop, and then gets to kiss Lana again. I think when they did this whole, like, bit of business with Sheamus at that last pay-per-view, or the pay-per-view before, where they did the Kiss Me Arse match or whatever, I think he was like, you know what? Here's the deal. I'll do the job. I'll let you, you know, rub my face in your hiney, but I get to kiss Lana on TV every week until the next pay-per-view. Deal? And they were like, I think we can make that happen in creative. You think we can make that happen, guys? I think that's what they did. And dude, good for him. My hat is off to you, Dolph Ziggler. You have done a great job. I applaud you. You are the saving grace of that terrible, terrible heat fest that they had. It wasn't too bad. Or the Dolph Ziggler part wasn't too bad. I liked it was quick and simple, but it got him over too. They did, you know, the Ambrose getting arrested for hitting the camera guy. We're about middle of the show now, and we've had one match, I think. Oh no, two matches, but one of them was just a straight squash. And then we have the Barrett Ryback match, which I was hoping to be decent because, you know, Ryback had that barn burner with Bray Wyatt, and we were all, you know, you were singing his praises, and I was kind of skeptical for a minute. And here I am again with his clunky, terrible work. He was awful.
But
Ryback is garbage.
He was. That was the thing. He was good against, and then a good match the following week. Like he even had a good follow-up match. So that's what really throws me is that he had two good matches, and like now it's like he reverted. I get that he's trying to sell the busted ribs thing, but he looked clunky, man. Like I mean, maybe it's because of how Barrett has that top rope spot. Maybe that was the hard part for him. But like he looked super clunky in that sequence where after Barrett did all the stuff outside to damage the ribs, and then when Ryback was trying to climb back up and Barrett knocked him and he had to get on the top like for that lay across, like he looked so clunky in that sequence. And like even as I was watching it, I was like, Daniel's going to tear into my ass for this. It's going to happen. He's going to say, I told you so. And here we fucking are. So,
I was
yeah.
right. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I was right. He's terrible. He's garbage. He shouldn't have a job. He made Barrett look bad, and Barrett's a great worker. It's hard to do to make Wade Barrett look bad. He was garbage. He is garbage. He is the most inconsistent piece of roided up crap that they have on that roster right now. Cut him immediately before he hurts one of your superstars, and then you really regret it. This guy should be a bouncer at a club. He should not be in any ring. Not Ring of Honor, not the local indies at the state fair. He should not be wrestling, period.
I'm just gonna sit right here with my head down. I'm just gonna take it like a man because I made a mistake.
And then almost immediately after, oh, by the way, does The Rock have a movie coming out?
Let's promo it.
Oh my God, dude! Like, I mean, I want to see the movie. It looks cool, but like, God, man, that movie and the Entourage movie, God, I got shoved down my throat tonight, man. It was insane. I felt like it was all like movie promo, and there wasn't even very. I mean, I don't even feel like there was very many talking segments. Maybe a few commercials on the network about the network, but yeah, that Daniel Bryan commercial ran. And then they had the Neville Stardust match, which was almost the same as the Rusev and Truth match. It was like a quick squash, and just to further the Bo Dallas feud.
And that's I think what the tempo was for tonight. Like they had so little time because of the 2 weeks until Elimination Chamber that they've had to force feed a month worth of build into 2 weeks. And that's what scares me about what you think they're going to do. I hope to God they don't, because if that's what they're going to do, like if they're going to run specials every 2 weeks on the network, dear God, like the booking, it's like Raw's going to be terrible from now on. I mean, like, and I don't want that because I mean we've already talked. This is like our lowest Raw of the year, but I mean this match was terrible. And it wasn't. The sad thing is that it shouldn't have been terrible because both of these guys can go. Like they can go. We've seen them go for years, and I say for years because I mean, Neville's been in NXT for over a year, and I mean, you could find all of his stuff from before NXT on the internet. So literally, the guy could go like there's no tomorrow, and we know Cody Rhodes can go because he's Cody Rhodes. I mean, it just really depresses me that they gave them so little time just to further an angle with Bo fucking Dallas. Bo fucking Dallas, of all people. And you know what? I thought for sure that Dallas would come back rejuvenated, have a good little run. What did Bray Wyatt did Bo's brother just like do a ritual as a kid and suck all of the talent out of his family's body?
Yes.
Because I mean seriously, because like I liked Bo's work in NXT, but now that he's on the main roster with this, the inspirational Bo Dallas, Tim Tebow thing, he's not believable. Like he is not believable as a credible threat.
Bo Dallas,
Adrian Neville.
Bo Dallas is his dad. Bray Wyatt's the star. Bo Dallas is IRS of the 2010s, man. He's that guy. He's never going to be a main event guy. He's going to be the guy that you despise, that every now and then is going to have a good match, but wasn't an incredible. Well, let me stop. Mike Rotunda in NWA, great worker. Rotundo, I can't. Rotunda. I think it's Rotunda. Anyway, great worker in NWA, not so good in WCW and WWF. I mean, I didn't like his work as Wall Street and WCW. I wasn't a big fan of the IRS gimmick. I thought he was cheesy. He looked beaten up at that point. And it's pretty much the same thing with Bo Dallas. His work is clunky. He's a hand. He should be a mid-card heel jobber, but you shouldn't have him in a match with a guy that was such a big rising star. I mean, dude, like I thought for what was it, 2 weeks ago, me and you both thought that he might actually win King of the Ring. And all of a sudden, he's in a feud with Bo Dallas. Like
that's what I'm saying, man.
Put him with Fandango. That would even be better than Bo Dallas. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, put him with Zack Ryder. Put him with come on, put him with give me a heel, like
Adam Rose.
Yes.
Put him with Adam Rose. Adam Rose can work.
Adam Rose would be fine.
Let Adam Rose go back to Leo Kruger.
Bring up Tyler Breeze.
Well, I'm down for that, but I think all of us as marks are just up for. The thing is, we want change, so let's bring up all the NXT guys, get rid of all the old guys, and let's just have NXT on.
Let's just get rid of the main roster and just have NXT be the main show. Period.
See, that's it right there. That is the epitome of markdom right there. That's it.
You're right though, and
But
it's true. The show would be better.
I don't think so because I don't think creative would change. I think it would just be the same people in different spots. I
Oh
think
no,
you'd
I
have to
mean
take
like
literally the
NXT's
whole
create. I mean all
NXT.
of NXT's crew.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You'd have to like plug and play all of
Yes,
NXT. And yeah. Yeah, you'd have
the
to.
whole company moves up: creative, booking, road agents, talent, management, all of it.
Lighting, everything.
Yeah, yeah, even the small venues, man. Like honestly, you're not really doing that. Your house shows you're doing in small venues anyway. Like do your big, obviously your Raw you could do in an arena, but you could, dude. I don't know, man. If you went to the certain places, you could book Raws only in Mark towns, man. I mean, go to Philly, go to Nashville, go to. I mean, a lot of these places, it might not be the same crowd, but the arena would get filled. It may not be the PG crowd that you want, but it would fill up, and it would be all smarks.
Yep. Yep. What was after Bo Dallas, that segment with Bo Dallas where Bo Dallas took out Neville's knee again? What was after that?
Ooh, after that segment was the entourage segment with the divas, and then Zack Ryder teasing. And once that happened, I knew he was answering
Oh
the home
yeah.
challenge. I knew that was
Oh
what was going
yeah.
to happen.
You know what's funny though? I dig Zack Ryder more in street clothes than I do as like his gimmick, like his woo 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 gimmick. Like I dig him. Like if he came out in like just like some black wrestling trunks, like maybe even like if they're like long shorts or something, like kind of like how like Paul London and Brian Kendrick used to come out in those really long shorts, and just like I don't know, his entrance have like a really like long shirt or something. And I don't know, like anything other than that woo 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 gimmick, I think he could honestly get over. Like I don't know, he was over with the woo woo gimmick, but that was because social media was really blowing up, and he got himself over with it,
Yeah,
and then WWE took it over.
dude, Zack
But
Ryder was over when Twitter began, way
right,
too
well,
long ago.
Twitter, right, like Twitter and all that, like, but like I was on board. I was like, dude, Zack Ryder, like he's an underdog. You root for him, all this stuff. He was an okay worker for the time that they gave him. It's just like it's so hard because he's literally one of those guys that the whole crowd got behind, and the company was just like, nope, we're gonna stomp this out right now, and like they just stomped him into the dirt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Short U.S. run,
And I honestly thought
and
he was
that's
onto something with the internet championship, especially once he got the belt made. I was like,
I'm
man,
telling
this
you,
could
dude.
be this could be
It
something.
was
They could have a YouTube show and just
it
have
was
an
perfect.
internet title. You know what I mean? Like, and I think they took that and ran with it, and that's what NXT became. I mean, honestly, like I think maybe not NXT itself because they already had developmental, and I think NXT was definitely still going on at the time. But I think that he was on to something with the idea of an internet title. I think that could be the secondary title in NXT. You know what I mean? Like that could be an internet. They could have like a YouTube show instead of even having a cable show. Like they could have their network show and make that when it goes 2 hours, have an hour-long show on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Well, instead of having a television title, they could have a network title or something like that. Like as a secondary title, something silly like that.
I
So the
think it would be
segment
the
with
internet title
Entourage
for
happened.
sure. I really do.
Yeah. So the segment with Entourage happened, and that teased Ryder, which they were when I texted you and asked you where they were. That was before the Entourage thing, and when I found out where they were, I was like, oh, it's happening.
Yeah.
Like I knew. And then when I saw the Entourage segment, it was like seal the deal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what happened after that is
It was Ziggler Sheamus after that, and
well,
sadly, it was match of the night.
what's
Um,
depressing is that any other time it wouldn't be sadly. It's just again lack of time and overexposure. How many times have we seen Ziggler and Sheamus? In the last month, how many times have we seen it? And that's the
Six
problem
times,
now is
6, 7 times, or no, maybe at least 5 times. At least 5 times we've seen it, if not
but
six or seven.
that's what I'm saying. It's the formula of overbooking where like you tease the match over and over again with false finishes and things like that, and then you get your payoff. But it used to be, tease the feud, interrupt each other's matches, build heat without actually facing each other. Then the big payoff is when they face each other. That's how feuds lasted longer, years ago, a few years
Yeah.
ago. And they're not. It seems like they're not doing that really anymore.
They're just not doing it
The
well.
only exception to that. Well, the only exception to that I can really think of right now would have. Well, there were two: the Rusev Cena feud and the Ambrose Rollins feud. Because even when that was on again, off again, they never really had good. Like they never really had matches one on one. They were always teasing it. So I mean, yeah, they had that match to get Ambrose into the Fatal 4-Way, but whatever. You know, it's it. Sheamus and Ziggler to me is burning out so fast, and it's so terrible because both of them can work. Like Sheamus is in his great working mode because he's a heel. He was always a better heel worker than a face worker anyway. So like he's working well now. And I mean, Ziggler's been a great worker for what, the last 5 years? I mean, seriously, so it's a shame when you've got these two workers and you're just so oversaturated with it that you're just like, you know what? I don't even care. Like when two workers who should be getting an A+ match, I'm gonna give a C because I've seen it so much and it's really the same stuff over. Saying something, man. I mean, really, it is.
And you know what's sad though? What's sad is the reason to me why it was it's sad that it was match of the night is because this is probably the last. This is probably what should have been the payoff for their feud, because clearly we're going to a Ziggler Rusev feud.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like your final payoff for this whole Sheamus Ziggler thing was a weak match on Raw. Like, why would you book that? Like, why would it have not been Barrett? You know what I mean? Like, why would you not have not done Sheamus and Neville? You know what I mean? And just had like, Neville get distracted by Bo Dallas instead of having this weird like in-ring like beat up on Neville. Like, why all of a sudden are you able to hurt Neville, the guy that's been going over, when you have gotten stomped by everybody? Even Sting has dropped you down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is
I forgot about
creative
that.
tonight was just garbage. It was so bad. It was just so bad. One of the worst Raws. It's worst Raw of the year. Easy so far.
For sure. And we're not even a full 2 hours in because we haven't gotten to Cena's open challenge at the top of the third hour.
Right. But dude, that was pretty much the next spot. I will say that spot of the night was the Cena likes Nickelback sign in the crowd.
Yes, I saw it.
That was spot of the night.
And second spot of the night, good sir, was Zack Ryder doing a freaking 450 splash. I don't care if he didn't hit it. I don't care if Cena rolled out of the way. That dude did a 450 splash. Sweet as hell.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's great that he got on TV. It's great that I got a bad feeling his contract's coming up pretty soon.
I got a bad feeling.
I don't think he's done. I think he wants to be done as a worker in general. I don't think he wants to wrestle anymore, honestly. I think he's had his run. I think when his contract's up, I don't think he'll go to the Indies. I think he'll bleed into normal America and get a different job doing something different, and that'll be his life. You know what I mean? So good for him. It was a decent. It was a decent match. It's just that it was kind of sad because I knew that they were kind of banking on it being in Long Island, closing it down, and having him be the hometown guy. But he got booed quite a bit, and so did the whole Entourage cast, and that didn't go over the way they wanted it to. I guarantee that. I gave that whole match a C. It was good. It just felt, because of where they were, it didn't felt so good. And dude, what did I just say about Owens changing his gear coming up to the main roster? I said they're not going to leave him in just plain black shorts and a t-shirt. And if they do, they'll at least doctor it up. I just said that. Like, damn it, I'm so good.
To be fair, all they did was doctor it up. So, I mean, you're only half good.
It looks 10 times better, though. It does. It looks 10 times better. He looks...
I like his new shirt. Like, his new shirt looks cool. It's got the KO on the back with Fido and Fido.
When he comes to the main roster, there'll be none of that random scraggle. It'll be baby-faced shave, perfectly trimmed, every show on TV. There'll be none of that, like, 3 days of road on his face. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen. Not anymore. Like,
I don't think so, man.
Oh, dude, it
I
will
think
change.
Owens.
It will change.
Well,
Trust me.
Steen's always had the beard, so like, I mean, it may be like, I mean, not like mine. Like mine isn't like, I got the neck beard going, but like he's not gonna be like clean cut. I don't think so. I don't think he's gonna be
No,
clean
no,
cut.
that's not what I mean. I just mean like his beard will be trimmed, like
Yeah,
his
he won't
hair
have the
will be
he won't have the
perfectly
Brian beard.
cut. Like, I mean, it's like the new gear looked awesome, but if you cut it to his face, his hair was actually super awful tonight. It was like super puffy and like almost like devil hornish instead of like the weird like clean cut on the side and then spiky. Like, his hair was weird, but the new gear looks good. It'll be interesting to see if he wears the new gear on the pay-per-view, and then on the NXT taping, see where he goes back to just the plain black trunks and the KO t-shirt. I think he probably will, honestly.
It'll make sense because why change it up while you're in NXT? You know what I
Right,
mean? So,
right.
um, but like the only thing that gave that thing a C really was Owen showing up and hitting the pop-up powerbomb at the end.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I know some people weren't all about him stepping on the US title thing. I dig it. I still dig it. I digged it last week. I digged it this week, and I'm gonna dig it every week he does it. Because I have a sneaking suspicion that even if Cena beats Owens, well, Cena beats Owens, I guess, because Cena's gonna Cena. I have a feeling that over the next year or so, Owens is going to be a thorn in Cena's side. I think they're setting the groundwork now for when Owens finally does make his way up, because Kevin Steen did not come to WWE to work mid card. Like I think they're actually going to let him work with Cena. I think they will.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Maybe they'll do Owens right and not what they did to Rusev. Maybe they'll actually put Owens over on Cena. Yeah, right.
No, I mean, that would be awesome, and I think he will win at the end of the feud. But I think that's what they're doing. I think it's going to be eventually Cena's going to make an appearance on NXT and cost Owens the title somehow. And I think that eventually Cena loses the U.S. title to Kevin Owens. Man, I really believe that. I really do.
It's just hard to say when, because you've got Balor's the number one contender now. Do you put the belt on Balor and then I said Balor? Do you put the belt on Balor and then call Owens up, or do you leave Owens in NXT? Like it's like when, and that's the fun of it. Really, is like when does it happen? Like always guessing and always trying to figure out when these guys are going to make their appearances and when they're going to be full time on the main roster. Part of it's like for me.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So we've already made it to the top of the third hour we're actually probably 15 minutes into the third hour after the Cena match and the pop-up powerbomb. We have 45 minutes left of this show. It's been a disaster so far in terms of just booking a live show. And if I remember right, there's not much left.
No, there's 2 matches left.
Right? Oh, that's right.
But they're pretty much back to back, and it was Paige versus Tamina. Dude, Tamina has forgotten how to work, dude. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know where I don't know if she's on drugs or something, because she is god awful now. I mean, she is terrible now.
Can I take this one, please? Trust me. I just need the reins for a second.
It's in your hands, buddy. It's in your hands.
All right, here we go. Okay. You are in the ring with now the best female worker on the main roster, because AJ is retired and Paige is the only real bitch left. And I say bitch in a good way. I don't mean it in a bad way. Please do not jump down my throat. Now, how in the world do you look like a student who is taking her first day of bumps live on Monday Night Raw? How? I mean, literally, you can see Paige literally hitting clotheslines and just the frustration growing on her face. Tamina botched like 4 super kicks. Like, Paige went for those shuffle kicks. like 3 times. Tamina would take them, stumble, stand right back up. It's like she kept calling for the spot over and over again. I cannot tell you how frustrated I was with this match because for all intents and purposes, this should have been a good match.
I agree.
Tamina, you great worker. Paige, phenomenal worker. This should have been match of the night. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If it was given time, obviously. But this should have, with what we have seen in the past 2.5 hours, this should have been match of the night. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, they could have capitalized on a shitty Raw, and the Divas could have got match of the night. But no. Tamina looked like a freaking first week wrestling student in the ring with a pro and just got tossed around. Actually, she didn't get tossed around. She wasn't selling a damn thing. Like,
she took awkward bumps all night. It was terrible. Terrible match.
So clunky. So clunky. And I know I ain't got shit room to talk because I ain't ever taken my first bump as of yet. And I know that's, it's a goal of mine. But you've taken bumps. You know how clunky that shit looked. I mean, just visually.
I've taken my fair share of clunky bumps, so I feel like I can judge clunky bumps well. I've taken my fair share of terrible bumps, so I'm positive that I can tell you that she took a terrible bump.
Yes, right here at mouth of the mark. But it's so frustrating, man, because I had such high hopes because I was like, oh well, look, I know they're going to further this angle, but these are 2 of the supposed top workers in the women's division on the main roster, and they just kind of kicked my throat and failed terribly.
Yeah. That match was an F, man.
Dude, if I could give it like a Z, I'd give it a Z. Like, I just, make up something for what that was because it wasn't anything.
It wasn't good enough to be on. It wasn't good enough to be on Superstars.
Dude, it wasn't good enough to be on Tough Enough.
Agreed.
Like, and I've seen some bad episodes of Tough Enough, but yeah, it's just move on before I flip my desk.
All right, the next match. The next match was just as big of a cluster. I mean, okay, so all right, New Day, I'm glad that they're over. We can officially agree that they're an over tag team. They're the top 2 or 3 most over tag team, heel or face in the company. It's awesome. I like the Freebird style with the trio of them. I like that gimmick. And the promo was funny. But I'm getting really tired of the WWE going to the well with the cheap heat on the local sports team on every show. I know you would always have heels do it in the past, every now and then. But, dude, every single show down in the local sports team, it's like, come on, man. Like, because you realize you're on TV.
It's oversaturation now.
I mean, you're broadcasting the rest of the country, right? Like, I don't care about the Islanders. Like, I mean, I'm not a New York guy, and I'm not, all right, if we have any New York people that watch this podcast or listen to it or whatever, like, I'm not knocking your state. It's a fine state. I like going to New York. It's great, whatever. I'm just saying that the rest of the country has no investment in the fact that Nassau Coliseum is closing and the Islanders and the history and all that bullshit. No one cares with the rest of the country, especially on a mainstream PG level. Like, why do you keep going back to that well every single show? It makes creative look bad because you know that these guys are scripted to say what creative tells them to say. And I firmly believe that those 3 guys could come up with a much better promo and get a lot more heat without having to down the Islanders. You know what I mean? Like,
it would just be hilarious. The sad part is like not only on a country level, but how many countries does WWE, broadcast to?
Exactly.
No one.
Exactly.
No one in Europe, no one in Mexico, no one in, no one in Canada. Well, okay, I guess Canada might care because they actually have hockey teams that play in the NHL, but no one really cares about the local sports team stuff if they're not the local team. Like, it's just, it's cheap heat. It worked whenever, like, I guess, like the territories it worked, and it kind of stuck through whenever it was the WWF and WCW. Like, it worked then, but it's evolved so much where it's so widespread
Right.
that you just need to find another well to tap into.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like calling everyone stupid. Call everyone stupid. Cool, that works.
Yeah.
Whatever. Tell them they all smell
Yeah.
bad.
And
That seemed to work
dude,
pretty well.
okay. And then you have Kane come out and flip flop in the middle of the show and play
To the
face
baby
for
face.
2 seconds, and then have like every team in the Elimination Chamber, including the heel Ascension versus the New Day. Why would you not at least just put the Ascension on New Day's side? Like,
And see,
because
here's my
you're
thing.
gonna have, because as soon as they said that there's gonna be 10-on-3, you knew the only way it was gonna end is all the teams getting a little bit of shine and a DQ and some spots, and
Absolutely.
you know what I mean. And so it was like, why not at least put all the heels together? If we're gonna be old school and stupid as shit like that, then why not just at least put the heels on one team? Like, God, like, it was so frustrating to me, man. Like, all of it, that whole booking, the promo, and then having Kane being a face for 30 seconds, and then putting faces and heels, and it was terrible, garbage booking tonight, garbage. And that spot, dude. You want to know why the tag team division sucks so bad? You want to know why people don't care about the tag team titles? Because of bullshit like this. Because of the way you put tag teams down all the time, and none of it makes any sense. It's so frustrating, man, because I love tag team wrestling. I mean, I remember, I'm talking old stuff, man, like the Rock and Roll Express NWA days. I mean, the Freebirds, the Von Erichs, like everything, and all the way through the Attitude Era. LOD was great for a while before they got clunky. You know, the Attitude Era had its fair share of amazing tag teams, and then we went into the indie upspring and the spot monkey fest of tag teams and TLCs and the Dudleys. And dude, tag team wrestling used to be sacred, and now it's like it's a mockery. And it's because of piss poor creative. It's not because you don't have the workers. It's not because you don't have the time. And you say, well, we can't book it right because nobody cares about it. We're just trying to keep it alive because we believe in the tradition. No, dude, you ruined the tradition. You are the reason why people care about it less. If you paid more attention to it and actually made the titles gold, you even make the titles bronze now. The lowest level on like the Olympics. Like, no one wants the bronze. Like, it makes no sense, dude. They shit on tag teams all the time, and I'm fed up with it, dude. It bothers the hell out of me.
I mean, I agree entirely because whenever they announced it, I really thought that they were at least going to have a spot where, like, you knew it was going to end in DQ, but it would have been the DQ spot would have been like the Ascension turning on the baby faces, or the Ascension swapping teams mid-match, or something stupid like that. Something that made sense from a booking standpoint, because in no proper world will like baby faces and heels work together. You know, like, perfect example. Cena won the titles as face heel going into a main event at WrestleMania. Literally 5 seconds later, they invoke their rematch clause. Miz hits Cena with a skull crushing finale, and they lose the belts. They held the belts for 2 minutes. I mean, it's heels face don't work together. It takes you out of the realm of disbelief, because why should I believe that the Ascension, this team that is ragged on Hall of Famers, this team that beats up on face teams, why would I believe work together with the primetime players when they just went against the primetime players not 2 weeks ago? Why would I believe that the Ascension would work together with the Lucha Dragons when they fought like crazy over the tag team titles in NXT? Don't stop treating your fans like they're stupid. They know good and bad. They know right and wrong. So why are you putting one of your heel teams with one of your babyface teams? Like, I don't understand it.
I agree.
But you knew the DQ finish was coming. The spot fest at the end was fine. Get them a little shine. You know what I didn't like, though? You know what really, really got me about it? The lack of selling. And like when the Lucha Dragons went up for their spots, the only team you see selling and working is the Ascension. Like the Ascension, as they're getting up, are still swinging at people. Everybody else is just looking up, waiting for the spot because I guess the Lucha Dragons were late or something. But like the Ascension was the only team still throwing fists, and no one
Yeah.
was selling them. Like it
Yeah.
was just like they were all just looking up like deer in the headlights, and I can't stand that more than anything, man. Like just bad work, like booking. Okay, I, bad booking, cool. I'll blame the guys behind the scenes because they're the ones scripting it now, and you're not flying off the cuff like you used to for promos and things like that. You know, but bad work is
Yeah.
all on you, bro. I can't cover your ass if you're doing bad work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
I mean, I know like me covering their ass doesn't mean shit, but you know what I mean? Like, even from a
Yeah.
business standpoint, you know, like as a business owner, like I can cover bad decisions, but I can't cover bad workers, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Yeah, and then, I mean, and then Raw pretty much ended on the classic, like, at this point, like the beer truck or the milk truck or any kind of like, or the ambulance is driven back in by the baby face, like, I mean, Ambrose drove back in with the paddy wagon and takes everybody out, and then, dude, all right, is Reigns even working at Chamber? Does he have a
no.
match
Oh, yes. Yes. He
with
said,
Kane?
well, I
Yeah.
thought he was going to be in one of the chamber. Oh, no, he put his name in the Money in the Bank thing. I don't even think he's working the chamber. I really don't.
He'll probably work
I
Kane.
don't think he's in anything.
He'll probably have Kane. They'll probably have
Well, Big
Kane work
Show's gone, I
heel,
guess.
and then lose to Reigns, and then come out to a face pop and restart a match or something, and do something stupid. But yeah, I mean that was the end of Raw, man. That's how Raw ended. I mean, like, and I know a lot of people were like, oh man, that whole angle with the paddy wagon and Dean Ambrose driving back in, that would have been a classic moment. But you just don't like Dean Ambrose. No, it would. It would have been a classic moment if I hadn't seen it like 5 times in the past 10 years. Like,
It would have been a classic moment in 1998. I mean, there you go. That's the end of it. 1998, because Bison did his beer truck, I think, in 98. Either 98 or 99. I don't remember. Anyway, Austin did his beer truck. Kurt Angle did the milk truck, which I thought
yeah,
was funny when he did it. Um, it's just been done so many times. Cena came out in a Mustang for WrestleMania. You know, there's just vehicles in general. The one exception, when Rusev came out in a tank, that was cool, but that's
yeah,
because it was a freaking tank. Okay,
yeah.
but like
And it was
the
many.
standard vehicle, right? Like a vehicle, a vehicle return. Okay, whatever. I mean, we've seen Triple H come back, after an injury with an ambulance backing up, and he's back. Uh, Batista's done the same thing against Orton. So like it's just been overdone. And the same thing with the arrest angle. The arrest angle has been done a million times. Stone Cold's
Yeah,
been arrested and come back. Triple H has been arrested and come back. Whenever DX was feuding with the McMahons, the planted Cuban cigars, like all that's been done so much. And that's another thing. It's like it's so hard to come up with actual creative, if that makes sense. Like so much has been done, and the wrestling business is a lot of repetition. So, I mean, I get it. Like it worked, but like to call it a classic is very large. And let me just say this right now. I don't give a damn if my own flesh and blood brother is in the ring with me trying to get a contract. If I'm a guy who got cheated at WrestleMania, I'm gonna spear the shit out of him, and I'm gonna sign my name on that contract. You know what
yeah,
like why is Reigns helping Ambrose? There
yeah,
has to be more to it than just the Shield thing. Because if I had a world title shot just a signature away, I'd spear the shit out of my own brother who's 3 years younger
yeah,
than me.
dude.
Like I'd spear the shit out of him
Yeah,
and beg for forgiveness later. After I get the belt, like he'll be the first guy to get a crack at it or something. You
yeah,
know, like
yeah,
it
dude.
just
And
didn't
where
make
and
sense.
dude, and also, dude, where's Randy Orton? Where is he?
I don't know. Like that's another thing that doesn't make sense. Like where's Orton? I mean, I guess they're selling it to where like the Orton Rollins thing is done, but I mean that's star power, man. Like that's star power that you're
And now
losing.
what do you? And
Like,
now what do you like?
what do you
Is
do with
this?
Orton? And what do you do with
well,
Reigns?
well, not only that, but like, where, like, how are you really going to maintain doing a special every 2 weeks if you're only going to push two of those angles and you refuse to have guys? You know, it's almost like they're keeping these guys off TV, or they're not giving Reigns a match, to promote Money in the Bank, but they keep them off the go home show. And it's like, you know, what do they? What's going to happen when they go to a special every 2 weeks?
I'm just sitting here hoping they don't, because I don't want to watch Raw every night, just sitting here going, oh man, they're going to do a rush 2 weeks of Raw. They're going to put a month's worth of build in 2 weeks. Yay. Yeah, I don't want that, man. Like, I don't. Like, I can't stress enough how much I just don't want that. Like, I mean, because we're gonna get this. We're gonna get this every goddamn week. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. They're pushing two angles right now. Two. Okay, three. Three are the main. Well, Cena isn't even the main focus right now. That's the thing. There are two main angles being pushed right now that get more than one segment. Your world title and the Rusev Ziggler. Those are your two main segments they pushed. Cena got a glimmer. The tag titles got a glimmer. The Intercontinental got two matches where they cut over a pan to the Intercontinental title. And that's it, dude. That is it. Like, everything else is getting one segment apiece. And just these two are getting more than one. And the problem with that is that if you're going to a 2-week special if you're going to a special every 2 weeks, that ain't enough build for nobody. Like, at all. I mean, it's barely enough build with 4 weeks because of how shitty their creative is.
Who wins the title?
I mean,
Who wins the IC title at Chamber?
I say Sheamus wins it because I've kind of had it spoiled because I see a bunch of advertisement stuff like with Sheamus advertised as Intercontinental Champion. So I say Sheamus wins it. My problem with that is, what are you gonna do with Rusev? Because Rusev just lost to Cena.
Ziggler.
But I get that. But that's another loss on a pay-per-view for him. Like, that's 4 out of 5, dude.
Dude, Ziggler is. That's what they do, though.
Ziggler is going to be the guy to get him back up. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Ziggler is the guy that always loses, man. Like, I mean, he's.
But here's what I propose. Swerve it. Let Ziggler win it, or let Rusev win it. One of the two.
Let Ziggler in the streak. In the pin, like, actually have him pin him,
like a pinfall streak. Yeah, like let one of them go over. Okay, let Rusev go over to where he doesn't get pinned in the chamber. So let Rusev get the belt. To further the angle, Ziggler will eventually beat Rusev for the Intercontinental title. Rusev can win it back in his rematch, and then Ziggler won't get a rematch. But, like, Rusev can come out on top. So, like, let Rusev win the first time, Ziggler win the second time, Rusev win the third time, and then it be done. But Ziggler's the guy who put a pinfall on Rusev. And then I don't know what you do with Ziggler from there, and I don't know what up for Rusev from that point with the Intercontinental title. Maybe they I don't know, because you don't want to go back to Cena. Like, I don't know.
Dude, I would love a main event. I would love a main event Dolph Ziggler Rollins for going into SummerSlam. I think that would be good.
I'd
and then have like Brock Lesnar come in, destroy both, and just kind of have Ziggler fade off there. And lead into SummerSlam. I don't know, man. I think you're right though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Sheamus goes over. So I think that if they do some kind of pinfall with Rusev, it'll be like Rusev like kills 2 or 3 guys, and then maybe the other 2 baby faces, and then they like all lay on him and pin him or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, like Rusev throws Ziggler through like the door side or something, and it comes open, and they fight back to the back, and they both just are out. You know what I mean? And that puts
I
them.
hope that doesn't happen because like if you're gonna put Sheamus over, I mean I know you've already given the payoff, but if you're gonna put, I mean I know what they're gonna do. If they put Sheamus over, it's gonna be Sheamus getting the win on Ryback. Like I already know that's how it's gonna happen. But I mean to make Sheamus look bigger and better, I'd rather Sheamus get the win off of Ziggler. Like because again, like we just said, that's what Ziggler does. Like he makes these guys look like $1,000,000 and then puts them over, you know? So I don't know. It's so hard, man. Like I get why creative is shit right now, but there's no fucking excuse. Like you get paid. Like we're just doing this for fun, and we're just here like on YouTube and all that stuff. But these guys are getting paid to do this job, and you're gonna do a shit job on live TV. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
And let's not get it twisted either, dude. It wasn't really the talent. I mean, the Divas match was talent. With the Ryback segment, it was talent. A few other spots were talent, but most of it was creative, dude. 80% of the reason why this show was shit was because of creative.
absolutely creative and booking, man. You can't tell me that for 3 hours of a show, you get maybe a half hour worth of bet. No, that's bad booking for the show, bro. Like it was bad, and and that's why it scares me so much about you talking about every like 2 week specials, man. Like I just don't want that. Have a takeover every 2 or 3 months, whatever. Give me a throw Battleground on the freaking network, like just because that's another one that just kind of pops up in the middle. Throw Battleground on the network too.
See, what I don't understand is why they don't just start doing an NXT special once a month, just like they have it with WWE. So that way you have like you go ahead and make NXT 2 hours on the network. You can spare the extra hour. Go ahead and make it 2 hours on the network and have them have like run it like you ran Raw 10 years ago, 2 hours long and one pay-per-view a month. And that way you essentially have a special every 2 weeks, but it's two different shows. That makes sense to me.
And I like that.
And you can
I
even
like that.
You can even use some of those old names. You know what I mean? For NXT. Like you can even use like NXT Judgment Day, NXT No Way Out. You know what I mean? Like you can do that. Like
I think that if that happens, that will happen when NXT is like on the road recording, and I think maybe they'll go live. Maybe like that'd be cool.
go
Like if
live for the
NXT was live,
specials.
well, live for the specials, obviously, but I really think the end game is NXT live on the network, man. Like
Yeah,
I
for
think that's
sure.
the end game goal. So like I think they do NXT live on the network, even if they leave it an hour, NXT live on the network with once a month or every other month pay-per-view on the network. So like you have your event specials, so that way you don't have to worry about like tapings and things like that. So like I don't know. I think that's one way they could go with it. But
Yeah.
I think that's so overall. I mean, I think we both pretty much agree that Raw is like a F D minus at best tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So solid. So we're solid, like on the same point. This is the worst Raw of the year, possibly like even midway through last year too.
I'll just say it's the worst Raw of the year. There were some pretty rotten Raws last year too. Actually, all in all, this year hasn't been that bad. But I'm
We're only
including I'm
5 months.
including I'm including NXT in that whole like batch because NXT has gained a life of its own, especially this year. I kind of
Yeah.
started last year, but I feel like it started around this time last year when NXT really started picking up steam. So I'd say that this is the worst Raw of the year. But we're a little about halfway through. Almost halfway through the year. So we'll
I'll
see.
be anxious to see what other people say about this week. If we're the only ones who are so pessimistic that we are just like worst Raw of the year. I just want to see what other people think, man. Because I mean, I have such a bad taste in my mouth. We're an
Yeah.
hour and a half removed from Raw. I'm just, there's such a, it's so sour, dude. I'm so over it right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna watch my NXT on Wednesday, and then I think I'm not gonna do a damn thing wrestling until Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna watch NXT on Wednesday, and I'm
So,
probably not even gonna watch SmackDown.
no, nah. I always read those on Tuesday. So, like most of us, read them on Tuesday. Don't bother with the show. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna swipe these reins back real quick, and then I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this real quick. That's gonna be it for us tonight, guys. We reviewed Raw. We'll be back for Elimination Chamber. Hopefully, we're gonna try and hopefully get Big Brad on here for Elimination Chamber because we couldn't get him on here last time we tried.
Yes.
But
And we
we're
do
gonna.
have we do have Brent from the Hollywood Kills. He's gonna be our special guest on Money in the Bank.
Oh, sweet, cool. Look at you doing recruiting work behind my back.
I do what I
So
can. I do what I can.
so that's cool. That's gonna do it for us tonight, guys. Y'all have a good week, and we'll see y'all for Elimination Chamber.
Peace.